Plenty of water, plenty of steam, ready for the climb out of Keighley. Leaving Keighley now, we've got to climb up about 1 in 58 up to the Globe pub, and it's on a bit of a curve, so it makes it a little bit harder for the engine. Makes it feel a bit steeper than what it is, so you can actually hear the engine working as we come out of Keighley. Because we're climbing now. Once we get up to the Globe, it'll level out a bit. So what I'll do then, once we get onto the level, wind it back a bit, the gearing, and that just uses less steam, so it'll make less noise as we get on the level. Once we get the in-grow, it starts to climb again, so you hear it going again, you know. But this, you hear an in-grow about the 2 steepest bits on the line.
Looking for any holes in the fire, any bright spots in the fire. Proves the fire's very thin. So we fill the bright spots up to keep the whole grate covered. That's how the engine likes to be worked. Keeps a nice even heat all over the firebox.
Winding the reverser back a bit, in simple terms, it's just like changing gear on a car. So as the gradient's ironing out, we're just going into a higher gear basically. More economical, uses less steam, makes it a bit easier for the firemen. 957 Lancashire Yorkshire engine, one of the oldest on the railway. So it only comes out on rare occasions, special occasions, so quite on it today, to be honest. Steams well. Day like today, absolutely lovely. Bit of a sod on a cold winter's day, but today, excellent. Coming up to Ingro now, so I'll be shutting off shortly. Tell the fireman I'm shutting off. He'll open the blower so we don't get a blowback. Open these doors. He'll probably put a pump on to get some water into the boiler. Shut off then. Into Ingro West Station now.
It's the home of both the vintage carriage trust where the carriages belong, and it's also the home of the Haworth Locomotive Society. So we'll stop here and pick whatever passengers up for travelling with us, and then we're away straight into the tunnel then, into Ingrove Tunnel.
This is Ingrove Station. There were two stations at Ingrove East and Ingrove West. We're about a mile and a half from Keighley now, surrounded by mills. The railway was built in the 1860s to bring coal in and take the finished wool out. And it was built by people who owned the mills to do that. It was all to help with their business. The railway is just under 5 miles long, and we're about a fifth of the way along it here.
Right away. Right away. Just as we leave the other end of this, the line starts to climb again, about 1 in 46, something like that, so you'll hear the engine working again, one of the steepest parts of the line. Yeah, it doesn't look that steep, but it's steeper than coming out of Keighley this bit. You can see now she's having to work a bit harder, so it is going to put a fair gradient.
Adjusting the lubricator, which puts oil into the cylinders and the valve chest and the cylinders. It's a hydrostatic lubricator. It just gives a blob of oil about every 30 seconds. You can watch it rise up through the glass. So that's literally lubricating the front end of the engine.
Now, smallest station on the line. We don't automatically stop here. We only stop here if the guard requests us, if the passenger has to stop. Shut off there.
I know.
I'll shut off here because the next signal ahead, he keeps it at danger until he hears the engines shut off. And that's because the signal in front of that's at danger. So it's like a warning to me, just to be ready to close.
called Damens Junction, which is a dead Swiss because it's not a junction at all. But anywhere on the Midland Railway that had a place where the tracks diverged, they called it a junction, so that's why it's called Damens Junction, because this used to be part of the Midland Railway. We're in the middle of the line here, almost exactly halfway, and to be in either half you have to have a huge big brass key that opens the points in that half. And we've arrived here, we've handed our key over to the signalman here, and he'll then put that through an electronic locking machine that unlocks his signals and lets the other train that's just arriving now into the other half, and he'll take that key, and then we'll take back the key that he's just handed in, we'll get now for that end of the line. But it's all locked electrically, so that it's physically impossible for us to get into that half as long as there's a train up there.
That token is our authority to be in any section of track. So without that we couldn't operate any points or anything. So once we get that, we get to Oxenhope at the other end, we've got a key then to run round. Without that we couldn't, the points would be just set. Thank you. Right mate, we've got the road, we'll get off. You let the handbrake off, David.
Right from a very early age, really from being in a pushchair. My dad was involved with preserving a railway engine, buying it from British Railways when it was withdrawn, and I've been involved ever since. Suppose it's in your blood. All my friends, everyone that I'm involved with really, we've grown up together through steam. So I think once you've got it, it's there forever.
Just got to strip down here a bit because we've got a 15-mile-an-hour speed restriction. Well, we're coming to Oakworth Station, which is famous for, obviously, for the railway children, for the television and the motion picture. So quite a lot of people know Oakworth, very popular station. I think people are still hope to see Jenny Agutter when they get here, but she didn't often come. So it's actually been left as it was for the film, and it's sort of Edwardian with all the signs and that. It looks very nice. I mean, every time it's shown on the television, it's normally around about Christmas time, you get a surge in passenger figures. So it's done a lot for the railway. Probably one of the best things that could have happened to the railway in its early days. I think people will always come, but you've got a generation now who were never brought up with steam engines, and so you're dependent on them seeing, you know, happy stories like the railway children, and then they bring them in and say, oh look, there's a steam engine, that's what was on the railway children, you know. A lot of children these days haven't seen a piece of coal.
engine was actually used in the filming of the Railway Children, so you know, this engine and this section of the railway go very well together.
The engine was painted green for the film. It's black as you can see today, but it was called the Green Dragon in the Railway Children film, and it was cobbled together. It was really patched up with elastoplast and string. We keep finding bits of the green paint underneath it. Where we're passing just now, this is the famous place where Jenny Agatha waved her red knickers at the train to stop it when the landslide had happened. And this is actually the engine that set the landslide off. Back in 1971 it was now. If you look at the end of the film, when Father's appearing out of the smoke, somebody's closing the level crossing. Well, that's a 15-year-old me.
Haworth now, so I'll be shutting off in a minute. Shutting off, mate. Coming into Haworth station now, which more or less is the main station on the line. It's where everything's based, where the local shed's based. Yeah, as we leave Haworth, on the left-hand side, going out, you'll see the engine shed. You'll see all the engines in the yard and that. It's our base where everything's maintained.
We're actually not in Haworth proper here. Haworth itself is about half a mile away on top of the hill behind me. That's where the church is and where the Brontes live. The Bronte family, the famous novelists, lived there. And the station was built here fairly obviously to be next to the railway. And when the railway came along here, people came to live round it. It was a little bit like a Victorian commuter effect, like the effect when they electrify a railway now. People go to live near the stations. Well, the same thing happened here.
Right away, mate. Now towards what they call Oxenhope Strait shortly. This is my favourite part of the line, the river and that sort of meandering down the side. It's my favourite spot. I said to my wife, when I die, I want my ashes put in the firebox and scattered up here. steam engines. I used to do that myself when I was a kid, so now when I see kids, I like to wave at them. I know it used to give me a thrill when a driver waved at us, you know.
It's almost a recreation of Edwardian England, is this? The long, hot afternoon of empire. All these people that you can see here, there's loads of them about, they can actually see it doing what it was built to do. If it's in a museum, it's like trying to explain to a kid what a stuffed badger is. Just the same with a steam engine. When you see this, kids can understand it, people can understand why they did what they did and how they did it. But if it's stuffed in a museum, it's just a piece of metal sculpture.
Shutting off there. In Oxenhope now, this is the end of the line, the terminus. We've got a brass band playing for us. Very nice. Now, believe it or not, I did want to stop at that line.